Imagine stumbling across a website with one of the simplest, most powerful names on the entire internet. Not coolcats.com, not bestpizza.net, but john.com. It's short, it's mysterious, it feels important. And for years, this site just sat there, almost blank, like a locked door in the middle of a crowded city. People tried to peek inside, tried to make sense of it, but no matter what they did, it refused to reveal its secrets. This is the bizarre story of John.com, a website that sparked wild speculation, endless theories, and a mystery that to this day has never truly been explained. Let's rewind to the 1990s. The internet was like the Wild West. Companies and individuals were racing to grab domain names, those simple words followed by .com that would one day become worth millions of dollars. Think about it. Back then, you could just buy pizza.com for a few bucks. Today, that kind of name could sell for millions. Same with things like cars.com or hotels.com. They became digital real estate. And among the most valuable of all were single names: tom.com, mike.com, sue.com. They weren't just websites. They were potential brands, golden tickets to influence, wealth, or both. So when john.com appeared, people immediately knew it wasn't just some random site. John is one of the most common names in the English language. Whoever owned this digital piece of land was sitting on something huge. But instead of being used for business or for selling products, John.com became something else entirely. For years, if you typed in John.com, you wouldn't see a slick website. You wouldn't see ads. You wouldn't see a blog. What you saw was basically nothing. Sometimes it was a blank page. Sometimes there was a cryptic message, almost like someone had left a note on a door before vanishing. People began to wonder, why would someone own one of the most valuable domains in the world and just not use it? And the weirdness didn't stop there. Over time, visitors noticed that John.com occasionally changed. It wasn't often, but when it did, the changes were small, strange, and unsettling. Sometimes it was just a word or two. Sometimes it was a vague sentence that seemed to mean nothing. But the randomness made it feel intentional, like someone out there was trying to communicate, but only with those who knew what to look for. One visitor claimed they saw a phrase like, "coming soon," but nothing ever came. Others swore the site displayed different languages, as if it were switching its audience. A few even said they thought the text looked like code, or an inside joke they weren't meant to understand. The more people watched, the more it felt like a puzzle with no clear answer. The theories begin. It didn't take long before John.com became internet legend. Forums lit up with debates. Reddit threads exploded with speculation. People started tracking screenshots of the site, documenting each strange little update. And soon, the theories began. Some believed it was a marketing stunt. Maybe a company was just sitting on the domain, waiting for the right time to launch something big. Others thought it was an art project, some kind of internet performance meant to confuse and intrigue. But then, the darker theories appeared. Was John.com a dead drop? In the world of spies, there's something called a dead drop. It's when one agent leaves information in a hidden place for another agent to pick up later. No meeting, no conversation, just a silent handoff. Some people began to wonder if John.com was exactly that. What if the website was being used to pass secret messages? What if those odd little text updates weren't random at all, but coded instructions to someone watching? After all, the site was public. Anyone could access it, but only someone who knew the code could actually understand the meaning. It sounds far-fetched, but this was the internet. And the more people thought about it, the more it started to make sense. Another group had a more practical theory. They believed John.com wasn't about communication, it was about money. Domain names like that don't just cost a few dollars, they can be worth millions. And sometimes, shady brokers or corporations will sit on a name, holding it like a piece of real estate, waiting until the price goes sky high. But here's the weird part. If that were the case, why not just put up a "for sale" sign? Why not make it clear? Instead, John.com stayed mysterious. The odd changes, the cryptic words, the emptiness, it didn't look like someone waiting to sell. It looked like something else. Of course, people tried to dig deeper. They wanted to know who actually owned John.com. Using HOIS searches, basically online phone books for domains, they tried to trace it. But like so many mysteries, the trail went cold. The ownership records were hidden, protected by privacy services or corporations that revealed nothing. Every time someone thought they had a lead, it slipped away. And then came one of the strangest discoveries. Remember John Titor, the man who, in the early 2000s, claimed to be a time traveler from the year 2036? He became one of the internet's most famous mysteries. Some people noticed that the John.com website popped up around the same era. And with the cryptic updates, the sense of secrecy, and the name John, conspiracy theorists couldn't resist connecting the dots. Was John.com somehow linked to John Titor? Maybe it was a way to communicate. Maybe it was a breadcrumb left for future generations. Of course, there was no proof. But the coincidence was enough to send chills down people's spines. Over the years, the internet grew noisier. Billions of websites appeared. Social media took over. Content was everywhere. And yet, through it all, John.com stayed nearly silent. No updates. No big reveals. Just emptiness. And in a way, that silence was louder than any words could have been. It kept people wondering. It kept people watching. Because sometimes, the scariest thing isn't what you see. It's what you don't. So what was John.com? The truth is, no one knows. It could have been a marketing stunt that fizzled out. It could have been an abandoned domain that accidentally became a legend. Or maybe, just maybe, it was exactly what some feared. A coded message board, hiding in plain sight. The mystery of John.com reminds us that the internet is full of locked doors. Some open eventually, others stay shut forever. And every once in a while, one door stands out so much you can't help but stare at it, wondering what's on the other side. And John.com? That was the ultimate locked door. When you type in a URL, you expect answers. You expect to go somewhere, to see something, to understand. But with John.com, all you got was questions. Who owned it? What was it for? Why the cryptic updates? And maybe most unsettling of all, why was it just sitting there, silent, for so many years, like it was waiting? We may never know, but one thing's certain. Sometimes, the scariest mysteries aren't the ones that scream for attention. They're the ones that whisper, or don't speak at all. As always, visit us at readtherealstory.com for more chilling stories you won't find anywhere else.